Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is the camera review of the Galaxy A14 5G. So we're going to break this down into a couple of categories. We're going to talk about the camera design, the specs, as well as photo quality, video quality, and I'll kind of wrap it up in a conclusion. So the first thing that I need you guys to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, this is an MSRP of $199. So this falls in the category of a budget smartphone. So the camera is not going to impress you too much, but it does what it's supposed to do, and you'll see in a little bit. So as far as the camera design, it's what you would expect from Samsung, kind of familiar. Three separate camera lenses with rings around them, and these rings are actually made out of plastic, and they're kind of raised up a little bit, so that way when you set your phone on a flat surface, it does not actually scratch the glass that's protecting the lens. So that's definitely a thumbs up from Samsung. I like that for their design choice. As far as the specs go, here they are. So it's a 50 megapixel main sensor, 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And as far as the camera interface goes, it's simple, straight to the point, and this camera can also shoot video at up to 1080p 30 frames per second. Now, one of the things that I'm not really too impressed with is the fact that we don't get a wide angle or even like a dedicated zoom lens. I would rather have a wide angle, but either or would work. So they do have a toggle for like a 1x, 2x, and I think the 2x basically just uses the macro sensor to produce kind of a macro shots. It's cool, it's neat, but I feel like more people would take advantage of an actual, ultra wide lens than a macro or a depth sensor. It is what it is. So also, if you look at the specs of the Galaxy A14 5G, you will notice that the selfie camera is now a 13 megapixel sensor, which is a much better improvement than the A13 5G, and you guys will see that in the pictures coming in a little bit. So one of the things that this phone tend to struggle with is color accuracy, and that's not even all the time. So in some scenarios like this one, you see the stop sign is not really color accurate. The reds are not that red, and they have kind of a warmer tone to them. But in this next picture, in this towaway sign, you see the reds are back, and it's much better represented than the previous picture. So it's not all that consistent when it comes to color accuracy. As far as sharpness and detail, it's there. So for example, in this picture, you can definitely tell that it's definitely sharp enough and detailed, but that's thanks to the 50 megapixel camera. Now, when you switch to that macro lens, that 2 megapixel macro lens, you lose all of that. I don't really recommend it. But overall, as far as the still photography goes, it seems to be doing a good job in keeping pretty much everything in focus and keeping it sharp. And I like it. So for example, in this picture of a building that has multiple colors and just a lot of things going for it, it seems to be doing a good job. Now, if you look at the top, it does tend to kind of overexpose just a little bit, but overall, a very respectable photo. As far as focus and the bokeh effect, it's also good. So this picture here is really difficult to pull off, even for like flagship smartphones sometimes, but it did a good job, and it did definitely a fantastic job in keeping like the closer subject to in focus and giving you that bokeh background. So definitely thumbs up for me. As far as the dynamic range goes, it's also respectable. Now keep in mind also that all these pictures that I took are with HDR on, and I do recommend that you keep HDR on. Once you turn it off, image quality will go downhill. That's just been my experience. As far as indoor photography goes, it's also respectable. So you do lose a little bit of brightness in the colors, and there's also kind of, it's not as good as outdoor perfect lighting type of photo, but does a respectable job overall. Definitely gets a thumbs up from me. The shadows are not really that good, so it doesn't really contain the shadows all that well, but that's being too technical at this point. In this picture, this is also a difficult picture to pull off. So you can see that it's darker than I would like it to be, but with a little bit of color grading here and there, you can bring that brightness back and just make it good, right? Similar situation in this picture here. It's darker than I would like it to be, but with a little bit of color grading, you can take care of that and you get a little bit of brightness back. So yeah, overall respectable 50 megapixel sensor. As for the selfie camera, it's way better than the A13 5G, but it's not all that good either, right? It does have its downfall here and there, but overall though, respectable. Low light has been a struggle for all smartphone cameras, basically, so this is no exception. There's a lot of noise, and it's just not as good as daylight photography, but that's okay. Overall, as far as a camera sensor and as far as photo quality for $199, it definitely gets a thumbs up from me, and it will definitely get the job done. Okay, as far as the video quality, here's a sample and we'll definitely talk about it. Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here, and this is the video test of the Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. So it can shoot up to 1080p at 30 frames per second, and that really is where this phone kind of maxes out. It does have stabilization. It's not optical, it's definitely digital, but it seems to be doing a good job so long as you're obviously holding the phone still as much as you can. Right, no optical image stabilization, that's alright. As far as I'm concerned, from what I'm seeing from the viewfinder, it seems to be doing a decent job. Some areas are like a little bit underexposed, but that's just because the sun is crazy right now, but that's alright. Color seems to be okay. Let's test out the focus real quick. So yeah, I mean, it seems to be doing a fair job for a phone that only cost $199. Alright, we're out. Alright, so overall the video capability of this camera is also respectable. It's kind of grainy here and there, so it's not going to be perfect by any means, but definitely usable. When it comes to focus, it did a pretty good job in focusing on close subjects and giving you that bokeh effect. But, I mean, overall, as a package though, here's what I have to say. This is, like I said, at the end of the day, a $199 smartphone that can shoot this type of photo and video quality. Now, are there better options for that type of price? For sure. If you look at past flagships, you can definitely get them for a similar price, maybe a little bit more, but you can definitely get a better camera quality. However, you have to keep in mind that you will not get updates, and updates are really important for security purposes, for privacy purposes. So keep in mind, you can definitely sacrifice your privacy and your security updates and your security patches for a better camera if you grab an older flagship device. However, that's a sacrifice that I don't know if a lot of people are willing to take. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think of this camera. Do you agree with some of the things that I said? Do you feel like, nah, this ain't it for me? I would rather spend some more money and get a better camera. Definitely the best way to kind of look at this camera is by reviewing it with other competitors like the Moto G Stylus 5G or even the Moto G 5G. And more videos like that are coming soon enough, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. With that being said, tell me what you guys think. And leave a thumbs up, and thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.